General, thanks for jumping in the chair for us, because we wanted to ask you about this increased ground activity that the IDF says it's undertaking tonight. It's about 9 o'clock at night there in Israel. Trey Yingst is telling us that this is not yet a full ground operation, but based on what you've seen with increased air attacks, artillery attacks in northern Gaza, now ground operations, what would you surmise it is that the IDF is engaging in tonight?
Yeah, John, thanks for having me. Look, what you're seeing is a prep of the battlefield, and they're doing this, and they've been doing this the last about 10 days. First of all, they isolated the battlefield by saying to everybody, go south of Wadi Gaza, which means they've cut Gaza in half, and they're going to focus on the northern half, which they didn't do in 2014 when they went in full bore into all of Gaza. The second thing they're doing is they're using what we used to call thunder runs, which is they're going in with a raid, with an armored heavy raid, with bulldozers, and going in and coming back out, setting the condition. They're using heavy artillery now, heavy airstrikes to isolate the battlefield. And the next step is going to be, and this is your tell, is the ground assault is going to take place. And it's going to be a very tough assault, but it's clear to me what they're doing. Isolate the battlefield from Wadi Gaza north, use maximum firepower to basically wear down the resistance, and then put ground troops into Gaza. And that is going to be the tough fight. That is the fight that is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, because you're fighting buildings 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. You're fighting ground level, you're fighting subterranean, meaning tunnels, which is a different fight entirely from a ground fight. And when you go into tunnels, it changes the dynamic totally. One simple example, and you remember this. Above ground, if you've got night vision goggles, you use ambient light. When you go into tunnels, you're in thermals, meaning you have to see heat, which means you really don't know who your opponent is, because all you're picking up is a symbol, a red symbol of heat. So it's going to be a tough fight, but I will tell you, I think you're looking at the precursor of them going in full bore probably within the next, if not 48, 72 hours, and then the fight's really going to get joined.
That is a big look ahead, a big prediction, General Kellogg. What do you believe, knowing that they're expanding their operations, that is the wording of the Israeli army tonight, that they're expanding their operations right now, what do you believe will be involved in their calculation when to move in for a full-scale invasion?
Well, I think the calculations will be sort of like, okay, have we isolated the battlefield, and you're going to see forces move along Wadi Gaza, which is like an old riverbed, to isolate that from the south to the north. And then you're going to see the major forces come in to the north of Gaza and also into Gaza City itself. And how they'll do this, Sandra, is they'll basically think of a checkerboard. They're going to isolate the city by checkerboards, and they'll go to each one of those, and they probably have fairly decent intelligence of maybe where the hostages are held or where the command and control facilities are, and they'll go block by block, building by building. It won't be one of these major assaults, tank assaults that we used to see in the past. This is an infantry specific fight. It'll be a very hard fight, but they're going to do it very systematically. You know, Gallant, their Secretary of Defense, made the comment, this isn't going to go over in a week or 2 weeks. The last time they went in 2014, even though it was all of Gaza, it lasted a little over a month. I think they're going in for keeps on this time until they totally isolate and reduce Hamas.
General, what do you make of the news that came out tonight that apparently internet service and cell phone communication is down? I mean, it's a tried and true tactic of war that the first thing you do when you're about to invade is you take away the enemy's eyes and ears.
You got it, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking down the comms, they're taking down the electricity, the electrical grids. They're taking down everything they can to basically isolate that battlefield, to give them the advantage. Because, you know, right now, John, a lot of that advantage is going to go to Hamas. What I mean by that is basically they're fighting on their turf, their battlefield, their tunnels. They set all this up. So as good as the Israelis are, and they've been training in a place called Zelim, which is in the southern desert, which is a massive military operations under urban training facility, and I've been there. It's about 600 buildings. You can put a brigade in there. They've been training up to that, going in there, getting ready for it. But still, the advantage goes to the defender. And they're going to have to fight house to house, floor to floor, door to door. It's not going to be an easy fight. I would caution everybody. You're going to see some scenes come out of this that are not going to be pretty. But that's the way war is. And you're going to see civilian casualties, and you're going to see a lot of damage brought into that area. But that's the only way they can do it. And frankly, they've got to reduce Hamas, and this is the way they're going to have to do it, to take out the infrastructure, take out the command and control
And now
facilities.
we're wondering what that time frame looks like to do that, General Kellogg. The Defense Minister, Gallant, many are looking at his comments basically pointing to a very long, potentially grueling and open-ended new phase of this war. He told a group of foreign reporters that, quote, it will take a long time to dismantle Hamas's vast network of tunnels, that he expects a lengthy phase of lower intensity fighting as Israel destroys, quote, pockets of resistance. What sort of time frame do you believe, General, we're looking at here?
You know, you're talking, it's going to go on for weeks, 30, 60 days. I will remind you, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking about this, what U.S. Grant did with Sherman in the Civil War when he went Sherman to the sea and they burned Atlanta to the ground. And I remember what we did in World War II when we destroyed the city of Dresden just to send a signal. I think you're looking at the total reduction, if necessary, of the city of Gaza. And that's the reason they told all the civilians move south of Wadi Gaza, and because they're going in full strength. You know, Sandra, they've got to do this. This to them is an existential fight. Hamas did something that we haven't seen since World War II, when the Nazis basically exterminated 1/3 of the Jewish population. This is what they're looking at as an existential fight. And my recommendation to them, they're not going to take it, but you have to go in hard, and you're going to have to reduce everything, and don't leave until it's done. That simple.
All right. General Keith Kellogg joining us from the AFPI offices. General, thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.